drink it in, drink it in, drink it in, man.
It is picked up by the line. Darius Slay's got it. Coming back right side, 25. Picks up a block at the 30. Darius at the 40.
Drink it in, drink it in. Drink it in, drink it in, drink it in, man.
Rolls to the right. Stafford throws deep. Got a man out there. End zone. Caught. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Marvin Jones.
Drink it in, drink it in.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Cornbread.
Drink it in, drink it in, drink it in, man.
Welcome to the Detroit Koolaid, everybody. How you doing today? This is Mike coming to you today. Once again, it's another hectic schedule with all the holidays happening right now, and me and Derek, we're each flying a little solo this week. So hope everybody had a Merry Christmas, enjoying the Hanukkah. Happy Boxing Day if you're listening to us from the United Kingdom, or enjoying Kwanzaa. So once again, as everybody knows, it is here in Michigan, and it's been a little warm this week, warmer than usual. So with the weekend coming up, this is my Friday shtick. Everybody knows it's going to be mid-40s here in Michigan. So this is weather that we like more in mid-March and early April than here in December. Because heaven knows when we do want it warm, it'll be, -10 with, -10 wind chill, and nobody will want to go anywhere. And we'll all be sitting around waiting for the draft to happen. But anyways, let's do this. Let's dive into this. If anybody wants to touch base on anything, talk about what I am discussing today, hit me up on Twitter. It's @GrifkaDKC. Feel free to call into the call-in line. That number, once again, is 989-272-3484. Once again, 989-272-3484. I know Derek covered the Denver game, but just wanted to touch base on that just for a second. Once again, as always, I thought the Lions, the guys that were out there played hard, and I don't think the team has really given up on Matt Pat yet. I realize there's that younger guys out there looking to get some film down for other teams in case they don't make the roster next year, because obviously the Lions have played an awful lot of players this year. And with news this week with Jelani Tavai going on the IR, even though there's only one game left, once again just opens up another roster spot that the Lions can bring somebody and look at, give them some time. So it's just been a long year, and the Lions have one game left, and it's like still they're our team. We still root for them. So let's see what we can talk about today, and maybe change some of those lumps of coal that we got this year for Christmas into diamonds. Now, talking to that, I know there's a lot of guys on the team, we've talked about it, real hit or miss. I just want to touch base on maybe a few of the younger guys that are on the team that right now they maybe look like a little bit of coal, but after a couple years or so, maybe even next year, a little bit of a pressure applied to them, they do turn into diamonds. The first one that I really want to talk about on this is probably going to be, as everybody knows, it's T.J. Hockenson. Everybody that listens to us and has heard me and Derek talk, I was not a fan of the pick. I know everybody thinks I hate him. I don't hate him. I just don't like the pick at where they took him. And I know there was a debate early on. Derek thought he was going to have a much bigger season. I thought he was going to run along the lines more of the stats of what he put up. I thought he was going to play all year and still hit those stats. I guess it comes down to it. No matter what happened, he has the stats that he has, no matter if he was injured or not. But there are a few things I did like about when I see him out there. I do feel he does block pretty well. Once again, he still needs to adjust to the pro game a little more, some of that speed that he didn't see, blocking players at Iowa. But if he can get his hands on somebody and, get drive, I think he's a good drive blocker that way for a tight end. He does run pretty decent routes. I mean, he did have a few drops this year. But, since the first game, I think with that first game against Arizona, everybody really had these high expectations. And like I always said, defenses adjusted to him, and they were able to take him out of the scheme. And I know Derek had mentioned I don't think they were actually running plays for him. And it seemed like when they were running plays for him, he was covered. The quarterbacks were trying to force him the ball. And it made me wonder, it's just like, hey, somebody else is open. Let's not just feed it to him just for the sake of feeding it to him. Let's be smart about it. Get him open. That's where that's where Darrell Bevel needs to come up with routes and plays that get him open. More so than it's like, hey, run an out route, run a seam route. Let's get him the ball. He's the number one option. I'm sure he's going to improve. His numbers will be better next year. Once again, I'm not calling him Tony Gonzalez. I'm not looking for that next year. But I would like to see him improve and be a key part of this team and the offense. Next guy I want to talk about, one guy I'm really soured on this year, was Ty Johnson. I know early in the year before the season started, I thought maybe he'd become the second or third guy on the team. He'd be more productive. He showed flashes here and there, but as the year went on, it really made me wonder. He was like getting skipped on the depth chart by guys they were just bringing off the shelf. Just like, I understand Bo Scarborough and Wes Hills. I mean, this guy's starting in front of Ty Johnson, and when Johnson would get out there, he still wouldn't do very much. I'm hoping he develops a little more, becomes that third down back, kind of like the Theo Riddick that we had talked about. That's what I'm looking for. So unless maybe next year he turns into something a little more, but maybe they got him in the draft where they got him for that reason. Wasn't really much of a steal. Maybe that's where he actually was, but hopefully he becomes some sort of diamond for this team. Another guy I want to touch base on, once again I just mentioned him, was Bo Scarborough. I know he had bounced around. I mean, he's not quite a journeyman yet. He had been on a few different rosters, but he really showed some stuff. He really ran hard. There was a couple times where he was able to break some tackles where the hole closed on him quickly. It seemed like the guy always fell forward. He could be that big bruising back that the Lions are really looking for in short yardage situations where it's 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. You put him out on the field, and there's that actual option for him to run the ball to get the first down, where it's not one of those things where it's 3rd and short, we definitely need to pass it because we don't have a running game to get it there. He seems like one of those guys that he just runs hard. I like the way he plays. It might only get him a few years career simply because he does seem to run upright and bang guys, and those running backs tend not to last a long time. Don't get me wrong, Frank Gore, he's been doing that for years, and he lasted, he's very durable, but I'm not calling Bo Scarborough Frank Gore. But he could be a guy, that sticks around for a few years, bangs heads, and becomes that powerful back that the Lions are looking for. Another guy I would like to see a little more of, and that's Chelani Tavai. Once again, I know a lot of people weren't happy with the second-round pick, me included. I think that he's pretty good at stuff in the run. He really needs to improve his coverage game. He does get picked on a lot when he's out there. You can see where it seems offenses know to run like out routes on him, up and outs, and he always seems to be a couple steps behind on that. I know you can't improve foot speed, but it might be one of those things with him just being around a year or two, he's able to get more feel for it, realize what offenses are trying to do to him, and he becomes a better player that way. I don't think the Lions intended him to be that 2 downs and out guy, where 3rd down they need to bring in a whole new linebacking crew, guys that can cover. I believe that they want to use him in coverage situations. It doesn't seem like they use him in a blitz packages very much, but he could be one of those things where get him a couple more years. He could be, like I said, I know Derek laughs at me. He could be the poor man's Chris Spielman for this team. Out there being a leader on the defense, making tackles, smart guy, calling the defense. He could be that guy for this team, but he just needs a little more seasoning. So hopefully he's one of those defenders they took high. He does turn into a diamond. Last guy I really want to touch base on. I was happy when they got him, and that's Austin Bryant, the end from Clemson. I know he was on that defensive line with a lot of other talent that went really high in the draft, so he could have been maybe just a product of the other guys around him, because once again, you can't double team everybody, and Clemson had a really great defensive line that he was on. But with him being injured, he hasn't got a whole lot of playing time, with coming back later in the year. But hopefully it's one of those guys that really develops into something that the Lions really need. He can, a guy that can get to quarterback, maybe set the edge. He could be that guy. I do not believe that he's going to turn into, a Reggie White, a Lawrence Taylor. He's nothing like that. He's not that fast. But he could be a guy that's, very durable out there and fits really, really nice in the rotation. So I have hopes for the guy. I don't want to call him a bust. I don't want to call any of these guys a bust. But all they just need a little polishing, a little pressure, and these guys could be, turned from, your proverbial lump of coal where people just want to throw them in the trash heap and they aren't happy with them. Someone's like, hey, this guy's a diamond. Hopefully, they're all not. They're all not misses. I'm not saying they're all going to turn into diamonds, but very productive players that become highly integral for the Lions' success in the years to come. So with that being said, before I talk about the last game of the season, the Packers, let's just take a break here and pause for our sponsors. Welcome back, everybody. Once again, here. It's only Mike today here on this wonderful Friday in the week between Christmas and New Year's. And we're here to talk about the final game of the season. I know early in the year, a lot of us were hoping for this game to, be the decider of the division. And, hopefully put a lot of pressure on the Packers, a lot of pressure on the Lions to win this game, get a home playoff game, win the division, be there. We all really had high hopes going into this season. And unfortunately, that hasn't come to fruition. I mean, with where we're at right here, this part of the season, I know a lot of us are just watching the game because we're fans, and it's the last one of the season, the last Lions game of the season. And we really want to see maybe I'm going on a bright spot, with some guys, having good games. Once again, not predicting a W here. I think it's going to be a real tough game for them, but I'll talk about that a little more in a second. Just to see some of these guys maybe I just talked about. Maybe there's a few other guys you want to see, play instead. Maybe, Golladay gets another touchdown or two. Becomes that guy. I know a lot of people were not happy that he was, listed as an alternate for the Pro Bowl. But still, one of those guys, he's a real bright spot of this offense. It would be nice to see him go on a high note, have a good day, and, end the year with him in, with good memories. Same with Kerryon Johnson. It seemed like he did pretty good against the Broncos. Have him, have another, decent game, come back, from injury, get some more playing time. It's all experience right now for him being in his second year. So I know, like I said, we are all hoping this would be a huge game, but, with what happened on Monday night in Green Bay, I mean, me and Derek were there. I mean, we're really crestfallen over it. I said it before, I said it again. I'm just tired of Aaron Rodgers. I mean, there's points where the guy's so good, but the guy gets so many freaking calls, and I know everybody's going to say, oh, you're just a Detroit homer. Come on, man. Go back and watch the game. I mean, people putting videos out, all the pass interference calls that, that Green Bay was getting. We all know the David Bakhtiari, Trey Flowers putting my hands on my face when everybody, watches the highlight video and they say no. That's just Green Bay getting the calls that they always get. And, Aaron Rodgers gets pass interference calls, and he does. I mean, don't get me wrong, he can put the ball on the dime, but there's a lot of passes that he misses, and he just throws his hands up in the air, and the defensive backs are like looking for the flag, and the wide receivers are looking for the flag, like pleading their case, and all of a sudden the back judge comes in or the side judge. Oh, you're like, yeah, okay, we'll listen to you. Here you go. Here's the flag, pass interference, and Green Bay continues to drive. He's just very smug, and gosh, it's bad when your family doesn't even like you, but. I don't even know. I mean, Green Bay fans, love him obviously, but gosh, he's just so smug, and he just bugs the daylights out of me. But this is gonna be a game where Green Bay needs this game. Everybody's maybe hoping maybe they wouldn't have to play any starters, but they're still in contention for that number one seed in the NFC. I know it's one of those things where they have a little bit of work to do. They're going against San Francisco for that number one seed. So this is going to be a game that Green Bay is going to have to come out and play. I mean, they're going to play their starters. They can't rest them. I mean, I'm sure if something happens where it becomes a blowout, they're going to pull guys, once they feel they have the game in hand. If they feel they have the game in hand, they're going to, pull those guys, hopefully get them some rest. But, hopefully it's one of those things where I don't want to, once again, never wish injuries on anybody, but maybe it's one of those things where, it happens kind of like last year where the Lions, put a good hit on Aaron Rodgers and you see him walking off the field and going over to the tent to, get checked out. Once again, I'm not looking to end anybody's career, but, if something happens where he had to leave the game a little early just for precautionary reasons, where he was perfectly healthy next year, I would be fine with that. I mean, it's one of those things where Green Bay does have, some okay offensive weapons, pretty good. I mean, they got once again, everybody knows Devontae Adams on the outside. He's probably their main number one guy. I personally think he's just an average wide receiver. I think the Green Bay Packers of the past have had much better wide receivers than this guy, but it's one of those things where he gets a lot of hype because he plays in Green Bay and there's a big fan base and Aaron Rodgers is quarterback and he's made a couple catches. So everything's, Devontae Adams all of a sudden the next Sterling Sharp up there in Green Bay. And I really like Sterling Sharp. The guy was great. He just had that neck injury. But, yeah, I think overall if he was on, some other teams, I don't think he would get as much hype and pub as I think he gets. Same with Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is that running back where it seems like Green Bay never has that stud, workhorse running back that kind of filter through them. I think Aaron Jones is the next in that line. And I know people are going to yell and scream at me if Packers fans are listening to this. And if you are listening to this and you want to touch base with me, give me a hit at Grifka DKC, or feel free to call in on the line at 989-272-3484. But I mean, what you guys had years ago? I think your number one back was Edgar Bennett. I mean, that guy was kind of more the he wasn't a game-breaking stud. I mean, he wasn't Paul Horning for you guys or anything like that, and he was a decent running back. But you guys, Green Bay doesn't have that really stud workhorse grinded out running back. I mean, Aaron Jones has got some quicks. He's quick through the hole. If anybody watched the Monday night game against Minnesota, you saw some flashes of that as well. I know the Lions' run defense, hasn't been, at times it looks pretty stout, and other times there's just some big breakdowns. There were some times against Denver, Detroit had some breakdowns on the run, and I'm afraid Aaron Jones is going to be able to exploit those same things that Detroit's defense does. And I realize that Detroit's defense does have some younger guys out there. They're missing a lot of guys, and guys are hurt and banged up. And I know everybody uses that mantra, next man up, next man up. Yeah, every team does that, next man up. Everybody does that. So you're not breaking any ground by, using that mantra. So Detroit's defense, they're going to have to scheme something up, try to slow down Aaron Jones, because we all know Detroit's offense at this point is not designed to get into a shootout with anybody. And I don't even know if Detroit's offense at this time is really designed to go on really, really long drives. So, we're talking 15, 16 plays, 80-some yard drives and holding the ball for 8, 9, 10 minutes. I don't think Detroit's offense is designed to do that. And even with Green Bay's defense, I feel Green Bay's defense, they're average. I don't think they're world beaters. I mean, they're not the old Lombardi's Packers defenses, or not even some of those defenses that were on the team like when they won the Super Bowl, went to the Super Bowl when they had those guys, Reggie White, Leroy Butler, was on the team. I can't even think, Bryce Paup, guys like that. And when those guys, I don't think they have anybody that's really stands out like that. I mean, they're a solid defense, and Detroit's offense, it struggled, against Denver. I mean, it's really been struggling just with all the injuries that they've had, and I don't see Detroit. Detroit's going to need some short fields. Aaron Rodgers, I mean, he threw, a pick or two against Minnesota. He generally doesn't do that. He's generally a guy who loves to throw the ball away as opposed to trying to throw it into a tight window. So I don't see, Detroit's might have to get lucky with a pick here or there. Maybe Aaron Rodgers is feeling himself and, hey, I can beat these guys, maybe disrespects them a little bit, takes them for granted, and just, wants to sling the ball around, and Detroit's maybe able to get a pick or two. Maybe early in the year, the Lions are able to maybe punch the ball out. Lions were having real early success with that. And, we haven't seen a whole lot of that, as the year has worn on. I think other teams have become wise to that and have done a lot better of protecting the ball against Detroit when they have it. But Detroit's going to have to get some short fields to be able to score here. Once again, we know with the offense, once again, I know after Blau against, on Thanksgiving in Chicago, I mean, I was a product of the moment saying this guy, deserves a couple more chances and a couple more looks. Well, obviously defenses have, adjusted to him, seen what his flaws are. He's looked very, very pedestrian the last number of weeks. And he is what he is at this point. The guy's got snaps. He's played a number of games, and I don't want to hear, give him the full complement of talent out there. Give him that. I mean, I'm afraid he would do the same thing if he had every number one player out there for Detroit. He would look exactly the same. He gets a little pressure in his face and he wildly throws the ball. Yeah, I think as of right now he still has trouble reading defenses. I think Chicago, that Thanksgiving game, was playing very vanilla defense for him. He was able to take advantage of it. As obviously as the season's worn on and he's played these last number of games, defense is like, okay, we're going to start disguising stuff, and that's what's happened. And this team, the offense just looks just so pedestrian, very difficult to watch. And even with Carey on back, even with Kenny Galladay out there, Jesse James, the outlaw, obviously that guy's on the lam because that guy makes maybe one catch a game or one catch every 2-3 games. I was once again another free agent signing I've been very, very disappointed in. I thought this guy was going to do a lot better, but he really hasn't done anything for this team at all. It's like, where have you been? I know the offensive line's been banged up for the Lions. Rick Wagner's out. They're probably going to play with Crosby again. And Taylor Deckers, he's out there. Once again, I know me and Derek have had these talks about him, and so I'm not going to belabor that point. But it's one of those things where Detroit's really going to have to get lucky on this. They're going to have to really play above themselves to beat these guys. Because, gosh, I would love it if they beat Green Bay. And I know that a lot of people are like, well, you want to play for the draft pick. And I got that. I understand that. But if they were just to go in there and wipe the smug look off Aaron Rodgers' face with his jaw like hitting the ground, gosh, I would love that. That would just be something special, just the highlight of the year. I mean, everybody can say this is the Lions Super Bowl. I mean, we've said that a number of years where the Lions have had disappointing years, like, oh, this is their Super Bowl. Let's go out there and let's win this game and, play really hard. And it could be one of those games where the Lions do keep it close. This game is close into the fourth quarter as opposed to, being over by halftime. And it's one of those things, the last game of the year, and hopefully the Lions just want to leave a good taste in like fans' mouth. And Martha sent the letter out. This is what we're looking to do for next year. This is why we're trying to do. But myself, a lot of people I know, they're starting to get jaded with like the same stuff, and it's a pretty hard year to swallow. It really is. High expectations for this team. Handpicked coach. So. At this point, go out there. I know everybody's like, oh, Chase Young's there. We can get Chase Young, and I know me and Derek are going to have conversations about him in upcoming shows. But gosh, I would just love it if they went out there and beat Green Bay. Gosh, because I really can't stand Aaron Rodgers. Guys, he just drives me freaking nuts. It's just, he always seems to come through and he'll get a call. I mean, we all have seen the phantom face mask call at, in one play where it led to one more play, and he got the Hail Mary that, beat the Lions. And, it just seen so many times where he passed the ball and he just throws his arm up in the air, and all of a sudden, like on Jordy Nelson, once again, he'd be an average wide receiver every place else, but Aaron Rodgers made him great. Jordy Nelson got a lot of pass interference calls as well, watching those games. I mean, so forget Jordy Nelson. He went to Oakland, and he was just absolutely nothing. And it was like, well, he was at the end of his career. No, he was at Oakland. If he was still in Green Bay, he still would have been getting those calls. So, Aaron Rodgers like, oh, we're happy to be back on top. No, you guys aren't going to leave the top. I mean, it's going to be one of those things where, like I said, the trophy is named after your former coach. Gosh, Lions, just do all Lions fans a favor. Just go out there, just win this game. Who cares if we fall like 3 or 4, 5 draft spots? I mean, go out there and do it. Everybody knows how I feel. Prospects are suspect until they do something. So I don't care if you're trying to draft the highest up or whatever. And just go out there and just win this game. Give us a little bit of something. And, I mean, talk about a Christmas miracle, what that would be. I mean, it would just be an utter Christmas miracle for the Lions to go out there and win this game on Sunday. I mean, it's going to be a tough game. I don't want to say it's going to be a raucous crowd. This might be one of those crowds where it seems like more and more Packers fans are there because it's a short drive. A lot of people were able to buy, tickets and say, it seemed like the last home game there was a lot more fans there for the other team than what there were Lions fans. And so they just might not be showing up. The weather's not supposed to be bad. Like I said, it's supposed to be like mid-40s, and it's not even rainy. But still, I mean, it's one of those things where I don't think Lions fans really want to drive down there and see this team. So they might be selling their tickets to Packers fans. So it might be one of those things at some point in the game you're going to hear louder cheers for Packers fans, from Packers fans than you will Lions fans for the good that's being done. So you know, this is one of those games where, like I said, it's going to be tough. The Packers they got to go out there, and play well to win this game to keep that number one spot, in the NFC Open. I was watching, NFL Network earlier this week. They kept showing all these clips, showing the, how Matt LaFleur talking about how getting the home game in Green Bay would be such a huge thing, and in January getting the teams out there in the cold and blah 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 and all this stuff. I mean, yeah, okay, we've heard that all before. Teams have went up into Green Bay in January and won. So let's not act like they're the most unbeatable team up there. Especially that team. Once again, I think their defense is pretty pedestrian, and their offense, it can be slowed down. It's tougher in Green Bay because once again they get more calls in Green Bay, but Green Bay can be beat up there. So, but once again, here Green Bay is going to come out. I think they're going to do their best to put this game away early. I don't know. I think it's going to be one of those games. Maybe the Lions keep it close up until halftime, and then Green Bay pulls away in the second half. I'm going to give this win to Green Bay. I think the Green Bay Packers are going to win this one. I'm going to say they're going to win this one 24-10. I know that's two touchdowns, but the way this offense has been struggling, Green Bay needing to win this game. I think Green Bay is going to win this one 24-10, and it's going to end on a sour note for us Lions fans, and we'll put all of our eggs toward the draft basket, and hopefully the Lions can replenish the team with some good stud draft picks and free agency coming up, and fill in a few holes that this team has, and come out next year swinging and put a lot better season together than what this one was. So, with that being said, it's close to New Year, and I want to tell everybody, I want y'all to have a happy New Year. Be safe out there. Just made me think about going into the new year. There's probably a few Lions players that are going to be happy for the new year when it rolls around as well. Guys that didn't have quite the season that we were hoping they have, or maybe they thought they were going to have. And so it really makes me think. There's a few guys I just want to touch base on. Some are pretty obvious. And other ones maybe not so much, but I think one guy's going to be really happy for the new year. Once again, it's Matt Stafford. Obviously, the season didn't go the way he wanted to go. Once again, injured his back again. We all were reading things throughout the year how he was just chomping at the bit to get back in. Doctors wouldn't clear him. After at one point it just became for the best that he sat out this year, because this guy was really, really thriving under Darrell Bevell. We saw rejuvenation. The offense was really real powerful. And still, I think even up to like 3-4 weeks ago, this offense was rated in the top 10. Based on Matt Stafford doing what Matt Stafford was doing. So him coming back, a couple key pieces, maybe another addition at some point. I'm not saying a high draft pick for running game, but maybe somebody to complement Kerryon Johnson. Maybe even if it's Bo Scarborough, if they feel it's him. I know there's a couple good stud young running backs coming out in the draft that maybe that the Lions could land. That would just help this offense. More production out of T.J. Hawkinson, another year under his belt, seen some more. Maybe Lions re-sign Danny Amendola. He seemed to have a productive year for the team, and who knows what's going to happen with the other wide receivers on this team. But I think Matt Stafford's going to be pretty excited going into next year, especially with where he kind of had this team offensively, and he'll be happy for the New Year's start. The next one I want to talk about, this one's got to be pretty obvious. That's Deshaun Hand, injured most of the year. The guy had a good year the year before. Really showed us something. I think he was pretty integral part of this defense, and then he just got hurt and he just couldn't get over the injury bug this year. He came back, he looked productive, for the one game, and then he got hurt again, couldn't play again, then ultimately ended up on IR. So Deshaun Hand, heal up. The guy's going to be ready to come back next year. Show Lions fans what he can do. Show this team what he can do. He was really kind of a surprise, and I think he really wants to build on that. Doesn't want to be known maybe as a one-year wonder, and I don't even know if even you could count him as a one-year wonder. He was pretty much he was a pleasant surprise, and going into this year we thought he would do more, but that injury, he just couldn't get over the injury bug. So I'm pretty positive that he's going to be happy for the new year. Next guy, probably happy for a new year, and that's Justin Coleman. he's had flashes where he's looked really, really good this year and said, okay, yeah, this is the money that we paid him, and he's been worth it. But then there's other ones where he's just getting beat, and like and you were supposed to be like the number one nickel guy, and I know I harp on it, and me and Derek kind of got an argument on it, but he got picked on a lot by Hunter Renfrow out in Oakland. It's like, how's that happen? I mean, Hunter Renfrow, he's decent wide receiver coming out of Clemson, later round pick, but still, I mean, you were supposed to be that wily veteran, being able to take this those routes away. But Hunter Renfrow had his way with you, and it seems like Coleman's had some other games where you're left scratching your head, going, "What are you doing?" I wish Derek was here to play that clip. What are you doing? Because this guy, I don't think he was worth the money that we paid him this year. So hopefully when the calendar flips, he comes out next year and he shows, like, this is why, you guys gave me that amount of money. This is why, I am, what you guys are paying me, shutting down the nickel spot. So, it's another guy, when the calendar flips, he's going to be pretty happy. And then the last guy, I think, it's got to be Kerryon Johnson. Kerryon Johnson, once again, I don't think he wants to get that mantra of being a China doll, but, his first couple of years, he's had injuries. I think he was really happy to get back against Denver, and he's going to be, happy, to play against Green Bay, but stay healthy. I really would like the Lions to, limit his carries, don't go into the off season, injured again, and, come out, next year, get ready for next year. Get him the touches, get him the looks at defenses, so picking up blitzes, things like that. But getting some more reps. But gosh, just kind of limit his reps. Let's keep him healthy. There's other guys, that are here running the ball that probably won't be here next year. And let them guys go out there and take the beating from the Green Bay Packer defense. Don't have this guy that you want to use as an integral part of the running game in the seasons coming up to have him go out there and just get beat on in a meaningless game against Green Bay. So I know the next season is going to be rolled around. The calendar's going to flip. Kerryon Johnson's going to come into training camp. Just aching to show everybody what he can do. Show that he is the number one guy. Quiet the talk of, let's cut this guy, get somebody else, give the ball to this guy more, go out and sign this free agent, draft this running back. He's going to come in here with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder to prove that he can stay healthy, and run the ball, that he will be an integral part of this team. So, hopefully, these guys, all, turn out into, the injury, they'll get over the injury bug, they improve from what they did this year, and, the Lions have a better season next year. Once again, with that being said, I appreciate you all listening. Once again, it's a tough year for the Lions. We'll all be Lions fans from here on out. Drink it in, man. I don't have the clip like Derek does, but once again, feel free to hit us up on Twitter at GrifkaDKC. Call into the line at 989-272-3484. And once again, this is listening to this on Friday. Everybody have a safe and happy New Year.
Pack the bag, start the plane. This game is over. It is over.
What a comeback by the Lions!
Drink it in, man.